across the games industry, helping you make the best game you can. Stay tuned for today's episode. Good morning, Overload Nation. Welcome to another episode of the Daily Dev Talk, talking to game developers from across the world to bring you experiences, stories, and lessons 7 days a week. Today, I'm joined with Petri Pekkarinen from his studio, Sieidi, to talk about his first game, Gunheim. Petri, talk about yourself first, please, and how you got into the games industry.
All right. I myself been in the game industry for a little over a year now. Before that, I've done hobby game making with Games Factory and Multimedia Fusion. Back in the day was when I was a teenager, but since I moved more to the business side, and in CD, I'm in charge of the overall business development of the studio and marketing, not so much with the development, actually. And we're a 5-man team now, plus a couple of interns here for the summer. And Gunheim has been in development for around 6 months full time now.
Oh, so it's quite a young game as well, 6 months.
Yeah.
That's not bad. And when you say business side, are we talking predominantly administration and taxes, or with a bit of mix of marketing?
Yeah, mostly all the bureaucracy and everything involved in making a company out of it all, but also marketing. We've also got Joel here, who does most of the PR and other marketing stuff. We're basically the 2-man marketing team also.
Oh, cool. So a very compact team as well.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
You say 5 people. So as it's small, I'm ultra guessing that generally people are a jack of all trades.
Yeah, most of us are. So we have to learn new stuff all day, every day.
Oh,
yeah.
Never want to stop learning.
Yeah.
Never want to stop learning. And you say you got like 2 interns as well?
Yeah, actually, we had 2 IT students here learning programming and game design, and also one marketing student from the university, and he's done mostly social media marketing and studying localization in China lately.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So a nice little operation going off there.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Gunheim and what you wanted the player to experience.
It's basically all about co-op mayhem with friends. So the idea came from those old school couch co-op games where you just fire it up and have fun. So no steep learning curves or deep narratives or elements like that. So basics can be learned in a few minutes, and then it's just all about chaos and mayhem and action.
Chaos, mayhem, and action. Cool. So when I played it,
Yep.
I felt, no doubt because it's 6 months, it's not fully finished and all the rest, and there's a few warning images on the left-hand side saying the AI lose interest and such. It was a nice game. I felt as well as regards to pick up and play and chaos, mayhem, and action. To be honest, I felt it needed a bit of balancing because there's little white blue people.
Yep.
You can kill them generally easy. Put the red guy on the right hand side. A few hits and you're gone. You're gone. And it's like I can kill them. We get past this area, but it's like I die so quick. And then I realized that I need to play it cooperatively with 4 people because even in the controls it talks about reviving people.
Right.
So I assume that I'm under the assumption that you not tried to kill the player, but you made it difficult enough that the player would each die and each would have to revive themselves, and thus there's a deeper element of cooperation.
Yeah, currently the reviving co-op is probably the most used button after fire button. So it's a big element, and of course when you're playing solo you don't have that option. So solo is very different from co-op because it's more challenging and you have to take it slow, and it's not so mayhemy anymore. But the game is on early access since Monday, and there's a lot of unbalance between different weapons and enemies, as you mentioned. So.
Yeah, I can understand. I also felt that it was rather slow, the frame rate or performance. It might be because, again, it's early access, not fully optimized, or it could be my computer in general, because I am on a laptop.
Okay, yeah, could be. We haven't had that many laptops in our test sessions, So we'd really like to hear if someone is facing problems with the game, with the performance, because of course we want to optimize it as we go and during early access, and hear about setups that can or can't handle the game. So
Yeah, it was just lower FPS really, say
Okay.
20, 15,
Oh,
stuff like
that's
that.
bad.
Still played, but just lower.
Yeah.
Just not really, not really ideal.
Yeah, we
or
should
it
definitely.
just felt slower is all.
Yeah, we should do something about that.
Oh, no doubt, plenty of time. 6 months, quite early.
Yeah.
So when it came to promoting the game, how did you go about it, and what worked and what didn't work so well?
The first prototype we did was back in January, and it was 3 weeks before we first showed it to players in a local game dev event, and after that we started getting a little community, mostly local people and friends who were hyped about the game, and that gave us the power or the motivation to take it further. But probably the biggest one was the Greenlight campaign in May, and we used Twitter, contacted YouTubers with email and a Facebook page, but we tried everything: Game Jolt, Indie Database, and with the early access, I'd say direct contacting people in the game industry press or YouTubers is probably the most important.
That's interesting. So you found that direct emailing of like the press and YouTubers was more efficient than just posting it on forums and places like that.
Yeah, of course you can find players in different forums. Reddit has been good place for us to find either game developers or players, but we feel that Twitter or Facebook we can't reach so many interested players or gamers.
Oh, I can understand that because the audience simply isn't there. You want to put it where the gamers are,
Yeah.
the audience, or
Yeah,
the consumer.
that's true.
I get you. With anything really. So I'm curious then, how is it you went about funding the game, and what methods worked and what didn't work so well?
Yeah, we started the company a little over a year ago doing client projects. So we've made games as work for hire, and well, this year almost all of our time has gone to Gunheim, and what little we had left from those client projects is basically everything we've had for funding, and we fortunately got all the licenses and hardware and stuff like that a year ago when we started doing client projects. So that has helped us a lot. So
Okay, cool. So how is it you went about QA in the game and getting feedback for it?
almost in the beginning, after the first prototype, we had a downloadable demo, and we've updated a couple of times before Greenlight and after that. So that has been playable almost. The game has been playable for almost the whole time it's been in development, and people have really been active in giving us feedback. Not any QAs in sense, but of course we tested a lot here, and we've hosted some testing sessions, and when we got to Steam through Greenlight, we've also had the possibility of sending keys and to certain closed alpha testers. So.
That's great. I also think that a demo since day one is very important as well. There's a few games out there where they're greenlit or not all or such, or even on Kickstarter, and it's like not always a demo. And I think that is very essential.
Yeah.
There was someone who I interviewed a few weeks ago talks about when they first put their game on Steam Greenlight, they got a lot of negative reviews because they had no video on there at launch.
Right.
And I think you could also argue that it helps even more so to have a demo on there. So that's very, very important and just frankly very useful as well if there's a demo.
It's a lot of work in the beginning, but it pays off to have demo.
Oh, exactly. So speaking of work, what was cut from the game and why?
I'm sorry?
What was removed from the game?
Currently, it has no other classes to play outside the Berserker, so there was a healer class and a sniper class at one point, and a grenadier. Some of the levels that can be seen in a demo aren't there now, but we have plans for those episodes too. So
I assume that there's only one class for now,
Yeah.
and it's temporary. Okay. So you essentially remove functionality because it wasn't fully playable or not working properly.
Yeah, it was a little stitched up for we visited a convention, Nordic game in Malmö, Sweden, in May after the Greenlight campaign, and it was just we stuffed every asset and every level and every character and every weapon we had there, but it was a really mess after that.
Oh, really? Oh.
After that, yeah, everything went fine when we demoed it, but then we started polishing the core gameplay and decided that it's best to remove all the extra stuff.
Interesting. I'd have thought for a show it would have been quality over quantity.
Yeah, it was, but we still had to at that point rush in some content too. So we wanted a few levels that were of course polished, and everything looked good and worked good, surprisingly good in fact. But since then, when we changed the things a bit for early access, we removed the extra stuff. We will introduce them back. Yeah.
Okay. So, what was the biggest thing you learned while working on the game?
Everything takes more time than you originally think, and the scope problem is a real problem for indies, especially. And yeah, at some point we had too much in the game that plus some ideas that we never knew whether we're gonna able to do with this team. And when we had a little moment where we realized that we need to keep it simple and make the things we have work as best as possible. The players need to enjoy it, and then make more of it, and then a little by little also add new stuff.
Oh, I can understand that. I've heard a lot of times that it takes a lot longer than you anticipate, and scope. It can make a game too big, and it's just not playable or functional or even deliverable on time.
Right.
So, what was the worst thing that happened, and how did you overcome it?
Of course, there's been frustration when everything was a big mess and our focus was a bit lost. And we have no extra funding, and we haven't done so much client work since after starting Gunheim. So, of course, there's been a little lack of hope or motivation for ever finishing the project. But now it all looks good. Regaining the focus. Yeah.
Wouldn't having no client work be a good thing because there's less distraction? There's less reasons to divide the manpower or something.
Yeah, of course. Just when we successfully launched in early access, we just actually talked about that if we had some other projects that maybe brought us a little money, we wouldn't finish the game or at this point even. So.
Oh yeah, the opportunity cost.
Yeah, true.
Got to look at the opportunity cost. So, speaking of software and licenses, what was the best game dev purchase you made? Whether it was software licenses, top quality piece of hardware or equipment, or simply a comfortable chair, good desk, and a second monitor.
Yeah, I'd have to say when we got decent PCs right from the start a year ago, and you need a Pro, of course, also, and some other licenses for like Photoshop and 3ds Max at some point, but then old school books about game development and business in general.
That brings you nicely onto my other query. Yeah. What game dev related books, lecture, or learning resource can you recommend?
I myself haven't read it yet, but some of our team members favor greatly that Theory of Fun. And in general, Gamestura is a good place for everything game dev related, and and Art of Screenshake by Flambeer, and every talk related to juicing up a game is good.
What was that? Juicing up a game? What do you mean?
Well, Flambeer talks about the Screenshake, but there are so much the sounds and the readability of the game. So I think
I understand.
Yeah, if you look at the Flambeer's video, there's a lot of related stuff in YouTube. So easy to find. Yeah.
Cool. That's pretty cool. A few of those are familiar, and that's cool. Some of them are worthwhile checking out a lot.
Right.
High priority kind of. So, like an Evernote or a Trello, do you have a useful or productivity enhancing software, app, extension, or website worth sharing?
Yeah, we've used Trello, then we kind of forgot about it. We have a chalkboard, we have a whiteboard. They're used sometimes. We tend to switch a lot, whatever works for different phases of the production of the game. Lately, in Gunheim, Pivotal Tracker has been good for ideas and fixes and stuff like that. You can all throw in things, and then people can kind of grab a task from there. Flowdock for chatting. Yeah, that's about it.
Interesting.
Usual Google Drives and Dropboxes.
Oh, they're always useful. Universally. So, Petri Pekkarinen, what advice can you give to aspiring game developers, small indie studios, and people trying to get to where you are today?
I think answering the question, why are you doing what you do or would like to do, what do you think you'd like to do, is crucial in everything. And it should always be asked again. You should remind yourself about why you started a big project or switched from one career to another. And it shouldn't be any pretty advertisement sentences. No slogans, but it has to be real. So why you're making this game, why you're starting up this company, or it helps in every decisions afterwards.
Why?
Yeah, start with why. That's also a good book there.
Yeah, start with why. Yeah. Cool. So, what is next? What is next for you? And what's the best way to contact you?
We're gonna finish Gunheim in early access and then move to other projects, and probably our Twitter, Sieidi, FI in the end, and you can also find me and our team members in our website, Sieidi.com. So contact info is there.
Okay. That's pretty cool. So, what the game is going to be finished on early access when roughly?
We aim for October final release. So a few months, 2 months maybe.
Are you planning on keeping the game alive with like updates or new builds?
Yeah, no DLC or stuff like that.
Yeah.
But we want to whatever we feel that belongs in this particular title is going to be there, updated without any extra fees, and then if we feel that we have so much content and the players have given us so many ideas during or after early access, maybe we'll do a sequel or move to an entirely different project. I don't know. But if there are players and if the game needs more things, we will update it.
Cool. That has a lot of potential. That sounds exciting. So, Petri, it appears that we're out of time for this episode of the Daily Dev Talk. It was great talking to you.
Yeah, it's been fun. Thank you.
I wish you well on Gunheim to get it out of early access and final release near the end of the year. Some cool things worth considering and remembering, especially having a demo for everything really. Early access, green light, Kickstarter, so on and so forth. That's a good rule of thumb to have.
Definitely, yeah.
It was great talking to you. So stay tuned, Overload Nation. More episodes to come. Thanks for listening to today's episode of the Daily Dev Talk with me, Adrian Nantchev. If you are a game developer that wants to get your name and game out there and to share your experiences and stories, or you have feedback or opinions of the show, then contact me at info@gameoverload.co.uk. That's info@gameoverload.co.uk. Stay tuned for tomorrow's episode, more to come.